So Madsen had that article on optimism. Now he's got cause for concern, and the three concerns he's got, and one of them is the run D, right? As you said, Gibbs and Montgomery. It's almost like a pair of 1,000-yard backs. They were number 7 in the NFL. Detroit was in rush attempts, 5th in rush yards, number 1 in rushing touchdowns this season. In the divisional round, they ran it 26 times for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns against a Buccaneer defense that was 5th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed. The Niners have to do a better job. Aaron Jones ran for 108 yards in the division round, and if you can't stop the run, it could be a long day. That being said, it sounds like Jair Brown's going to play instead of Logan Ryan at safety, and I've been calling for it all week. I'm glad that sounds like that's the case. To me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, Logan Ryan is a cornerback who's 32, who's not that physical, who's coming off a cruise, and you've got Jair Brown, who's like hits like a linebacker, and is a big part of your future at safety going forward. You go with Jair Brown all day, every day. I think they made a mistake last week going with Logan Ryan. But it sounds like Jair Brown has indicated on Twitter, there's been no formal announcement, but he's kind of indicated on Twitter that he's gonna start or he's gonna go. He didn't play a single snap last week, even on special teams. Mm-hmm. Are you all for Jair Brown in over Logan Ryan at safety?
I don't know. I do not know. For what it's worth, Aaron Jones had 108 yards on us, but he did have a 53-yard run. All right. So let's just kind of put things in context. All right. One thing about Logan Ryan is Logan Ryan has been here before. Okay. He understands the stakes of what's being asked of him. And one of the biggest things that he can do right now, outside of his physical attributes, is understand what's being asked of him and not fuck up assignments. And that's the biggest thing that matters in playoff football, right?
Yeah, but what if what if you're in the hole, but David Montgomery runs your ass over?
True. But what if you're not in the hole and you think you should be and you give up a touchdown for 6?
No, I hear you. But I mean, the run fits last week against Jones were not good. I mean, you heard Bosa say, man, we got crushed on the crack toss all day.
Yeah, but at the same time, it ain't just Logan Ryan, man.
It's not just him. I'm not blaming him.
I watched the film, man. Like he had some bloopers. I'll give it to you, right? The conversation is warranted, right? He did not have a good game, but there were a lot of players who did not have a good run game on the ground as far as the run game is concerned.
Yeah.
So I will say that, yeah, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. He's the new guy and the oldest guy. Of course, he's the first guy to come in. He was going to be the first guy to go out. That's the way it works. All right. As far as things starting to mess up on the defense or any type of organization for that matter. But I feel like he's there for the experience piece, the mental acuity of understanding a defense and knowing exactly where he should be. Also being able to get guys in the right place and in turn be a coach on the field. And then another thing that you have to understand is that you have to just look at the disparity of experience on the field. Let's not look at talent. Let's look at experience. If you put Jair Brown at safety, okay, what happens now is that you may get in positions where offenses are starting to try to manipulate a defense where the second half of our entire defense is comprised of Ambry Thomas and Jair Brown, right? And then when we're sitting here looking at film and we're starting to see how these guys are getting switch releases, getting Jair Brown and Ambry Thomas in fits, then we're going to wish that there was somebody over top to be able to have a little bit of a disparity of experience so somebody can talk to Ambry Thomas and say, hey, bro, you're wrong here. All right, you need to bounce back. You're at the wrong depth. All right, so there is an element of having Logan Ryan on the field that's a little bit more cerebral than it is what we're just seeing from an older player who we just snatched off the Carnival boat cruise. So
I like Ryan against the pass. I don't like Ryan against the run. And so here's the thing. If the Niners, based on what the Niners did last week, if you're Detroit, you are licking your chops They couldn't stop Aaron Jones, and they're going to stop Gibbs and Montgomery. Guys, we're going to run it down their throat. So I think that's the mindset they bring into this game. I'm going to put Jair Brown on the field first. And then if this becomes a one-sided game and they're passing in the second half to come back on the 49ers, then I'll go with Ryan as a extra, corner out there because he's probably the better coverage guy. But even that, I like the nose for the ball that Jair has. He's got double-digit picks the last couple of years in Happy Valley. I also just think that here's the other thing. I'd much rather go with guys like Womack and the youth in the secondary because that is your future over these stopgap guys like a Verrett, who's obviously now hurt, Logan Ryan, who's on a cruise.
I can get behind that.
I'd rather go with Luter and Womack and Brown and roll the dice than try to rig some has-been veteran and hopefully, the guy who said playing Ryan's playing not to lose, playing Brown's playing more to win. I kind of agree with that. I like Logan Ryan. Don't get me wrong. I interviewed him the other day. I like him. I think he serves a real purpose. I think his purpose, though, is more as a security blanket, a good guy to watch film with, a good guy to settle the troops down. Because you got a lot of young guys in the room, right? So you got to have a couple veterans, and him and Tayshaun are the veterans. But it's time to trust Luter, Womack, Ambry, Demo. It's time to trust Jair. I didn't think Gibson played all that well against the run either. And I don't know that you can go up against a Detroit team that, as you said, has 2,000-yard rushers with two safeties that neither play the run particularly well. I think that's begging for a 200-yard rush day against you. So I would play Brown early and maybe Ryan late. That's the way I would.
Okay. Well, you kind of won me over, right? I'm subject to change my opinion with new information and new context. I am all about development, and I do understand that when you're coaching, it's your job to find sneaky opportunities to figure out what you have in your players. And this is an opportunity where I feel like expectation does meet curiosity, where, he's been here long enough. He should be expected to know the defense. All right. He's played in enough games, so he understands NFL speed. All right. And then at the same time, the curiosity of what do we have? And if we expect this guy to be a true starter for us next year, then we'd love to get some type of tape in some of the highest position games that we're going to play in. So yeah, I do agree with that, Larry. I do. If you're going to figure out what you got, you might as well figure out now. And they're younger, they're faster. They're obviously going to be a bump in the run game, and they're going to stay with the speed of the defense. But you're just going to have to overcoach. You're just going to have to rep them out because you know that mistakes are pretty much the Achilles heel of these boys, right? It's not for lack of talent, although Jair Brown does have to be a little bit more purposeful in his run fits, right? Shoulder bumping people and running into people is not going to do it. You got to wrap up. But outside of that, I do agree with that assertion, Larry. I mean, Logan Ryan is not good. He's going to give you the cerebral effort. He's going to know exactly where to be. But the thing about it is that there's a difference when knowing something and then having your body actually go do it. Right. And, with Jair Brown, he's going to have a little bit of a problem in, applying his mental acuity of the game to his physical attributes, but he's a live body and he's going to see ball and get ball. So yeah, I would say Jair Brown would be the better start.
Madsen has one more here that I think, or two more that I think are really interesting. One, you think of the yards after the catch, you think of the Niners. But Detroit, I mean, Amon-Ra led the NFL this season in yards after the catch. Sam Laporta is really good after the catch. Jahmyr Gibbs might be the best in the league as far as being electric with the ball in his hands. The Niners not only have to stop the run, but they really have to do a nice job if they do give up receptions of tackling Gibbs, Laporta, and Brown. Those guys run after the catch is a major concern in this game against Detroit. That to me, you can't let Gibbs catch a 5-yard pass and run 77 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a major one. And the other one he's got is obviously Aiden Hutchinson is a monster, right? He was amazing this year. He had 101 pressures, second most in the NFL. He had 11 sacks. He's got 8 in the last 4 games. 21.3% pass rush win rate, 6th best in the NFL. The guy can dominate, and he's going up against Colton McKivitz. And, we saw TJ Watt in week 1 dominate against McKivitz with 6 pressures and 3 sacks and a forced fumble. And to me, and I want to know what you think, but I wanted to ask Trent Williams this question. I didn't get it out this week, which is,
okay,
if the game plan for the Niners is to slide the protection towards McKivitz to help with Hutchinson, and can Trent go all day one-on-one with Pascal and Kaminsky, who are bigger bodied guys? And is that the plan? I mean, you got to chip Hutchinson. You got to help McKivitz. Hutchinson's got a nasty spin move. He's got a motor that's the best in the league. And he's hot and he's getting home. I mean, unlike Bosa, who's not getting home recently, Aiden Hutchinson is getting home. And he looks on paper like he's a one-man band because, the rest of that line's just okay. Aleem McNeil's got some talent, but it's not like it's a star-studded line. I think a year from now, he's going to have a partner or two, and that's when they're really going to be scary. But right now, he's doing it a lot all on his own. What do you think the plan should be to stop Hutchinson up front?
All of the above. We're gonna have to slide to him. We're gonna have to fan to him. We're gonna have to bump him, flat out double team him. We're gonna have to chip him. We're gonna have to bluff block him. We're gonna have to use him as the point of attack. We're gonna have to misdirect him on play action pass, get him running down the line of scrimmage. I mean, we're gonna have to have him thinking. One of the biggest things about pass rushers that I know as an offensive line is they just want to go, right? They love it when they get to pin their ears back and just play. We can't let him be comfortable. All right. He's got to be a focal point of what we do in the blocking schemes. And on top of it, I feel like we've done it all year, to be quite honest with you. We did it to TJ Watt week 1. All right. We've been doing it all year. We did it to Aaron Donald. We found a way how to work around these guys. And again, this ain't Baltimore, right? These guys ain't Baltimore. These guys ain't who was another defensive Cleveland. This ain't that it. Aiden Hutchinson is their guy, right? It kind of all goes downhill as far as guys that can stop the run. They're stout, they're bigger guys, but they're not necessarily athletic pass rushers that can get after the quarterback. That's not what they do. That's why Aiden Hutchinson is there. We can be able to utilize good pass blocking schemes to be able to get around him. If he figures out a way for it to be kind of a one-man band wrecking crew, because that's what it would be. They don't really have any dynamic pass rushers outside of him. Then I would see that that's just a man-on beat situation where you lost your rep. But as far as schematics are concerned, we can handle him. We can handle Aiden Hutchinson. Now, I will say this. For all of the things that I talked about with how you can stop a lone pass rusher on a defensive line, when he gets his shots, Colton's got to win. He's got to win. All right. When there is one-on-one times, Colton has to win, because this is unique in that Aiden Hutchinson is bigger than Colton McKivitz. That's pretty much one of the only D linemen that Colton McKivitz has seen this year that actually is bigger than him. Aiden Hutchinson is 6'7", 270. All right. Now, he may give up 30 pounds to Colton McKivitz, but what he gives up in weight, he gains in speed, pop, athleticism. He's fast, dynamic, has strong hands, and can stride as big and as wide as Colton McKivitz. He actually can cover the same surface area that he can cover. So it's going to be interesting to see Colton deal with another pass rusher that, quite frankly, is his size, right? That he can't use his length. That's one of the reasons why Colton McKivitz is serviceable, and he is a fairly good right tackle, is because of his God-given size. He's 6'6" with a big gait. All right. So when he gets his kick step, the average pass rusher is going to have to generate more to get around him just off surface area alone, because Colton's got strides. Things change a little bit more with your point of attack and how you get your 45-degree kick out. All right. How you jump set out there on a guy who can run as big as you. He can cover as much space as you, and he's just as strong as you, but he may be faster. So it's going to be interesting to see when we do get those one-on-one moments, because they can't do it all game. They can't completely strap the entire game plan around stopping this one guy. But there's going to be moments where Colton's going to have to just be a professional football player and win. Those are the times that are going to make or break us, in my opinion.